What's going on, party people? Captain Zeus here, and I'm back with another review, and this time it is over the Disney Plus Star Wars original series, Skeleton Crew Episode 8. Now, for those of you that haven't seen the episode yet, spoiler warning up ahead because I will be going into some details about it. And if you like these reviews I do, please hit that like button, smash that subscribe button, let us know in the comments below your thoughts and what other reviews you'd like to see us do on the channel. Now, I will say this episode was pretty dang good. I believe it's the season finale. As season finales go, especially for Star Wars, pretty on point. Pretty on point. I do have some issues that I'll address in a bit here, but to start off with like the good things that I noticed, the visuals. Holy crap, the visuals were on point. One thing I noticed with a lot of these Star Wars shows or projects, especially the ones that, you know, Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau are working on, is the visuals are just so freaking good. I don't know what it is. It's better than a lot of movies visuals, but budget is definitely there, and you see it very much so in this episode as well. I loved one scene in particular when the pirate home ship was descending down to the planet and it was hovering over the neighborhood. The lighting of that scene and just the way the ship looked, it just looked so clean. It was one of the more memorable moments in terms of visuals that I had from that episode. Another part was when the shield generator or the planet generator turned off and, you know, you see the green wipe across the screen or across the sky. I really liked how that was depicted, and then the X-Wings coming in also looked really good. Just a lot of really good things about the show in terms of visuals. The soundtrack, of course, is just classic Star Wars soundtrack. One thing I loved about it is how, I don't know if you'd want to say John Williams-esque it is. It's very much in tune with the original trilogy's style in terms of soundtrack. A lot of soundtracks try to go with a more revamped modern style. No, this soundtrack for the show was very much classic Star Wars, and I loved it. Such a good thing. Now, I will say the confrontation with Jod and Fern / the skeleton crew, if you will, was very enjoyable and had me on the edge of my seat for a good chunk of it. The back and forth between schemes and just straight action was beautifully done, especially with Jod's, I don't know if you'd want to say confliction with morality, because he really tried not to kill anyone. He was trying his best. He really was just wanting everyone to make credits for him. And honestly, if he was a true pirate, like through and through, he would have killed Wim's dad. He would have killed Fern's mom. He would have killed Wim and Fern. Not even gonna lie, I would have did it. If I was him, I would have did it. And I think that was one of the greatest things about his character, is that flaw that I wish we would have saw explored more as to why it was there. Because we learned a little bit about his backstory in terms of a Jedi picked him up from the gutter and tried to bring him to be something other than trash, and gave him a glimmer of hope until Order 66 was executed and she got killed, and that hope was extinguished. And so that just shows that he was neither Sith nor Jedi, just a Force potential child that the Jedi Order saw, or that this specific Jedi Master saw and had some decent training with, which makes sense in a lot of aspects of to why he was doing what he was doing and why he was a pirate. Speaking of Order 66, the superintendent, I believe, was an AI, which kind of saw that coming, and its last order seemed to have been of Order 66, of the Jedi turned traitor, which confirms the timeline of how long this planet's been around. It's been around since the Old Republic, or the High Republic, or the Republic pre-Empire, if you will. I don't know how you want to say it, which is super interesting because you would have thought that it would have gotten a signal to be underneath the Empire's orders, and if not, at least about the New Republic. But then again, it seemed to have missed all of the war, the galactic war that happened. I'm curious as to who was in charge of these planets and why this one didn't get the memo of any updates outside of this specific planet. Now, one thing too is the ending of the episode really had me questioning a lot of things for two reasons. And this is kind of the con, if you will. It's not really that big of a deal in terms of bad things. It's not a bad thing. It's just something that shouldn't have been left so open-ended. The episode ended with Win just looking at the X-Wings, and that's how it ended. Like, as soon as they grabbed KB, that's just how the episode ended, which doesn't make sense because Jod was still in the superintendent's tower. He's just there. We don't know what happens with him afterwards. We don't know what happens to that planet after all of this happens. We don't know what the Republic's going to do with him or where these kids stories take place. Like there's no hints to anything. It just straight up ends with Wim looking up into the sky, which I'm just like, okay, it'd be cool if we get another episode to conclude everything. But no, it just ends like that. I don't know. For me, I'm like, that's a terrible ending. That's way too many open-ended questions. Like, unless we're confirmed to having a season 2 or a movie to take place after this, which we aren't, nothing's been confirmed as of this moment, as of the time of this recording. But it's like, why is it so open-ended? Why couldn't we get anything? You know, why couldn't we get John arrested and the kids have that moment of, you know, a little bit of a time jump where Wim's going to the, you know, the assessment, and then he decides to skip the assessment. He goes to where he found the ship when it was crashed, and Fern's there, and they all talk about exploring the stars. And then you can end it off with them looking up into the stars as they're talking about their future or potential futures. That would have been better. Although you can be like, oh, it's really similar. No, it's not, because there's some form of conclusion with these other situations instead of just all of this open-endedness. Because remember, the planet's been exposed to the galaxy, so there's nothing in terms of what the New Republic's doing with it. Jod's still alive. He's still in the superintendent's office. Wim's just looking up at the starfighters. What happened to the rest of the citizens? You know, what's going on with 33 now? Yeah, it's a lot of questions that I would have liked answered. And the other thing that I have questions on, and this is purely out of like curiosity's sake, not necessarily because of it's bad, is what the ending title sequence was about. Now, I noticed that those little clips, I don't know if you want to say it, those little flash clips, were the same ones that Wim was looking through on his little data pad in the beginning of the show about the Jedi and its adventures. And as we look through those in the end credit scenes, or in the end credit title scenes, you notice that, at least to me, this is not a recognizable story. Because remember, this planet has nothing to do post Order 66. So it's not Luke or anyone after Anakin. So I'm curious as to what Jedi story that was about, or who that was about, and if we're going to get some more information on that in the future. I would like for that to be the case, to be honest. Maybe it's about someone that we already know and we just don't know yet, because there's no recognizable features other than like hair color. But I'm curious. I feel like it might be Obi-Wan a little bit. I don't know. I'm just a nudge, maybe Qui-Gon, one of those two. I could be wrong though, but I'm really curious as to the character's story and who that is. A part of me is also thinking that it's a new character, one we haven't seen before, maybe during the High Republic or even pre-High Republic, Old Republic technically, because there was some symbols in there, especially like the symbols on the ground when the Jedi was confronting the Sith, that I didn't recognize. And it would make sense if it was such an ancient story and that's what Wim looked up to, but I don't know, honestly. Like I said, a lot of questions here that I kind of wish we had a little bit more answers to for this to be a season finale. It was great in a lot of aspects, but it was also, especially with the ending specifically, not that great. Nevertheless though, I'd still rate this episode, despite the questions I have at the end, I'd still rate this a good 8.5. I would rate it a 9, but it's the ending that really killed me. Still a good season, still a good show. Visual, soundtrack, the acting, Fern's acting, by the way. That actress did a phenomenal job. Everyone did a great job. Wim's character didn't seem to have much of character development, if I'm being completely honest, which made the whole KB Fern episode a little pointless, because it seemed like they were the only ones with any actual character development, but Wim didn't have any development, so that was kind of weird. But nevertheless, I really enjoyed this. I wish we got more series like this in terms of quality. I would like to see what comes next in the Star Wars franchise, because anything Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni attached is pretty good. I mean, they were definitely attached to this one, and you can tell because it's a part of Dave Filoni's New Republic era. And honestly, besides the Book of Boba Fett, the quality of content's been pretty high. What do you guys think? Have you seen the episode yet? Please let me know in the comments below. I'm Captain Zeus, and I will catch you guys later. See ya.